Every few years in the Pokemon TCG, we have a standard format rotation. This is when older sets and older cards get pushed out of the game and are no longer eligible to be used in the standard format. This often changes up the meta game drastically and forces decks to adapt and be built differently to accommodate the new cards and not having access to the old cards. Today, we're going to take a look at a fan favorite deck in Miraidon EX. It's been very dominant right now in the competitive game, but we want to take a look and see if in the standard format rotation of 2024, can it survive, can it adapt, and will it be able to still be on top? What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchan here, back again with another Pokemon trading card game video. Today, we're doing something a little bit differently. I have been working on this video for a little bit, and I'm pretty excited to record it and show it to you guys today. So we're going to take a look at Miraidon EX and how a couple of deck lists are built in the current standard format. Then we're going to see what it loses with rotation, and maybe how it can adapt and become, you know, still be a good deck in the new standard format we're going to have in April of 2024. So we're going to just get right into it here. But before we do, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of the channel, PTCGO Store. If you need codes and you're ready to go, head on over to ptcgostore.com and use code HITMON to get 5% off your order. You get a good product for a good price, and you help out the channel as well. So thank you to the sponsor of the channel. Thanks to you for supporting me. And now we're going to take a look and see if Miraidon EX can survive the 2024 standard rotation. Just a quick overview, we are going to be losing a couple sets in standard rotation, which is happening on April 5th, I believe is the exact date, in 2024. This is going to be all Regulation E cards, which you can find at the bottom left-hand corner of your Pokemon card. There's a little E or a little letter. The E ones gotta go. You're not going to be able to use them once this rotation date hits. And the major sets that we are losing in the standard rotation are Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, Celebrations, and Fusion Strike. So majority, if not all cards from these sets are not eligible to be used in the standard format after this date. And we're also going to be losing some promos and stuff as well. So just important to keep in mind. Anything with that E has got to go. Now, we're going to take a look at two of the main ways to play Miraidon EX and the cards that are important and crucial that they lose. Also, how are these crucial cards going to affect the way that the deck now plays? First off, I want to talk about Yuho Kalama's first place LAIC list. This is, I think, like the standard way, quote unquote, that people are playing Miraidon EX right now. It's very toolboxy. You have a lot of different attackers that you use, and the main deck revolves around Flaffy from Evolving Skies, and Flaffy is going to be rotating, unfortunately. So it is very important, you know, you're going to have to kind of change the way the deck is built and the deck is played after Flaffy's gone, because you're not going to be able to use that Dynamotor ability and get those energies from the discard pile back onto your benched Pokemon. Some other noteworthy cards that this version of the deck loses is Escape Rope. Yuho's list plays 2, and you're not going to be able to play anymore when the standard format rotation hits. I can see Escape Rope being reprinted potentially in the future, but as of now, it's a no-go. No Escape Ropes allowed. And Path to the Peak as well is another hugely important card from Miraidon. It's how it deals with a lot of decks. Just Iono, Path, like Charizard EX, that's this deck's main game plan towards it. Against Mew EX, you're trying to path them early. Or sorry, Mew VMAX. Against a bunch of different decks, you're trying to use Path to the Peak. So it's going to be a key option for Miraidon that is going to be gone, and you're not going to be able to use when the rotation hits. And now the other way that we can play Miraidon EX right now is this more turbo version with Peony. This list is the 13th place LAIC list from Anil, and it plays 1 Peony, but I've seen a lot of versions of this deck play like 4 Peony and just continuously use them to discard your hand. You can get any 2 trainer cards, so you can get 2 electric generators and just charge your guys up really quickly. This deck also plays a 2/2 copy of Mareep and Flaffy, which again is going to be rotated out of the format. Peony itself is going to be rotated out of the format. So if you play this deck, or you wanted to try this deck, just be aware that these cards starting in April are not going to be able to be used. And another important one is Raihan. I believe Raihan is gone as well, which is a really, really awesome card that a lot of decks rely on, and it makes a lot of decks playable that we're going to be losing, unfortunately. Battle VIP Pass is played in this deck, which is an insanely big card that we're going to lose. So the setups are about to be a little bit more difficult. Going to have to use some Nest Balls instead, and stuff like that. And Escape Rope, again, this version of the deck plays 2. Escape Rope cannot be used. Escape Rope can be really good to force something else your opponent has on the bench into their active spot, so you can use Iron Hands EX or something like that to put yourself in a more advantageous state. Like maybe they have a big Charizard EX in the active and you can't physically knock it out, you escape rope it away, deal with it another day, and take a knockout on something else that they are forced to push up from the bench. So that is Anil's list, but another noteworthy thing about this list is it actually plays 18 Lightning Energy. Yuho's list plays 13 Lightning Energy and 1 double Turbo Energy. So keep in mind these energy counts because they're going to be very relevant in this next segment where I want to talk about what are some of our alternatives now. We're losing our main energy acceleration engine in Flaffy, so how are we going to get these Pokemon powered up, and how are we going to get these energies to get into play and stay in play? Well, my first idea is just play more energy. Play up to 18, maybe 16, 17, around that range, Lightning Energy, so you're guaranteed hitting those electric generators every single time. However, that does come at a cost, with potentially you getting a very clogged hand in the beginning of the game, drawing a lot of Lightning Energy. Let's say you draw like 5 energy and a basic Pokemon and, you know, a Bravery Charm. There's like nothing you can do about that, and you're going to have those hands the more energy you play in the deck. So that is an idea which maybe is the way to go, maybe isn't. We aren't really going to know just yet. But I think playing more Lightning Energy is going to be a standard practice, especially around the first weeks of rotation when that hits. And another idea which is a little more interesting but could actually see some success is Energy Sticker. This card came out in the Pokemon 151 set, and if you don't know what it does, I don't blame you because it's not very commonly seen, but it reads flip a coin, and if heads, attach a basic energy card for your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. So this could be a way to get some energies back into play that Flaffy has, you know, that's been what Flaffy's doing. It's getting those energies that are discarded back into play. You discard them off your Ultra Balls, off your research, so on and so forth. So Energy Sticker could be another form of energy acceleration that ends up finding its way into Miraidon EX decks. And now, my third and final prediction, I guess, or suggestion of how Miraidon could be played is actually with Regieleki VMAX. That's how people were playing it before we discovered the proper way to play it, the most, successful way with Path to the Peak and Flaffy. People were playing with Regieleki VMAX because its Transistor ability lets your basic Lightning Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you have 2 Regieleki in play, your Miraidon EX's Photon Blaster can actually do 280 instead of 220 damage, which is insanely strong, and you can knock out V-Stars, however many you want. You know, you can just one-shot them with Miraidon itself. So maybe, just maybe, this is the key to Miraidon EX's longevity. So I'm going to move now into a list that I kind of created just for this video. I'm not saying this is the best list in the world or anything like that, but I do want to say that it, I think, is a good starting point if you're trying to practice post-rotation, if you're trying to figure some things out and prepare. This might be a good place to start if you're thinking of continuing or starting to play Miraidon EX. And my list is looking like this. Now, I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to go through all the cards, and we're just going to kind of talk about each component that I think is pretty important. Very much so based off of Yuho's list. We have 3 Miraidon, and then we were playing a 2-2 line of Regieleki and Regieleki VMAX. I could also see this being played in a 3-3 line as it was in the past, but essentially this deck is relying on hitting a lot harder against your opponent's Pokemon, so you can only use a limited amount of energy, right? That's the idea. So instead of poking with a Miraidon, then hitting with Iron Hands, where you lose that energy, you would one-shot with a Miraidon, or just go for a one-shot with Iron Hands, and Regieleki is going to help you boost that damage and help you successfully get those one-shots, so you don't have to discard all your energy for a one-shot like you do with Raichu V. So we are also going to be playing one of these Zeraoras and the Zapdos from Pokemon Go in this deck still. Again, they're basic Lightning Pokemon, so their attacks do get boosted. For example, Zeraora's Battle Claw, which is 30 plus 30 more if your opponent's active Pokemon is an Evolution Pokemon, can do up to 90 and even 120 damage on an Evolution Pokemon. Could take out something like a, I was going to say Shining Arcana Gardevoir, but that is rotating out. Can take out some like Evolution Pokemon that are maybe a little bit beefier, or set them up for Iron Hands to come in after and clean up, or do whatever. Really, it really does just boost your damage that much a little bit, and it might help you out in certain scenarios, you know, makes the deck a little bit more versatile. And Pokemon Go Zapdos boosts by 10 as well, so you can accomplish some really cheeky number play with a couple of different damage boosts going on. We still have the 1 copy of Iron Hands EX in here because Ampy very much is just a really strong attack, and if we're consistently hitting our generators more often, it's just that much easier to get the turn 1 MP very much. We still are playing the double turbo energy in here because it also works with Regieleki VMAX's attack as well, Max Thunder and Lightning. So it could be just a good suggestion. You know, you can get your Iron Hands powered up quickly. Regieleki VMAX can boost the damage of it to help you hit some higher numbers there, and then boom, you're good to go. Raichu V is still in the deck because, you know, Dynamic Spark is just a really good closing attack to have you discard as many energy as you want from your board and use 60 for each one. We also still have one copy of Squawkabilly in here, and I have dropped down to one copy of Raikou V. Just, it's a really good attacker. Again, it can reach similar numbers to Miraidon EX, but we need a room for these Regieleki VMAXs to come in, right? And we also are playing still the Mew EX. It's very good in being like a draw engine when you get Iono to a low energy count, or sorry, a low hand count in the end of the game. And just as a pivot as well, it does have free retreat. So our supporter line is the same. You could make, you know, a little bit of an argument to add more Arvins or to just add more draw supporters in general, because our late game is going to be a little bit tougher without those Flaffies. So we're playing 4 Research, 3 Iono, 3 Boss, and 1 Arvin. That is my preferred supporter count. You may like it, you may not, that's completely fine. That's just kind of my general idea. We are still sticking with 4 electric generators, but they become that much more important in here. So we do have 2 of the energy stickers to potentially get those extra clutch energies when we need them. It really, you know, it's on a coin flip, so you can't rely on it entirely, but it's better than nothing in my opinion. You can search it out from Arvin, and if you fail it, it's okay. It's another card that you've thinned out of your deck, and you can draw more with Mew EX if it's a card in your hand that you need to just play down to draw cards with Restart. So we have 2 of those energy stickers in here. We are keeping with the 4 Ultra Ball and 1 Nest Ball Ball Search lineup. Very, I think, standard for Miraidon. I think that's just kind of one of the best ways, if not the best way, to go about your ball search. We do still have 2 copies of Switch Card in here, and for our other switching options, we have Beach Court to actually be, like, you know, bumping stadiums that we don't want to be against us. I just couldn't really think of another stadium that is good enough to put in here. Beach Court just gives you the most versatility because, you know, your generator's got to be on the bench. You might need to pivot from Miraidon to Miraidon and bump a path, or pump Path of Peak's not going to be an issue anymore, and bump another stadium. So 2 Beach Court, I think, is good for now. We are also playing 2 copies of Bravery Charm. Still, I actually think you could play even more because if you're focusing on attacking with Miraidon, with Iron Hands, with Raikou, with Raichu, with your basic Pokemon still, those Bravery Charms are going to be extra important if you're hitting those high numbers, because then Pokemon are going to have a harder time hitting back into you and taking a knockout in one shot, so you can consistently use the boost from Regieleki to your full advantage and just do more and more damage while conserving your energy by not getting knocked out. We still do have 1 copy of Force Seal Stone in here. It is usable on Raikou V or Raichu V to find whatever you want, which can be very good to find our one of Double Turbo. And at that point, all that's left is the energy. We do have the 1 Double Turbo and also 16 Lightning Energy in here. A little bit on the light side from what I was saying earlier. I was saying like 16 to 18 I could see being the preferred way, just because you got to guaranteed hit those generators. I could see it going down and being less still. The deck is still very consistent as it is right now in hitting those energies off those generators. So going less is more, maybe. But I think right now, at least for a version of the deck that is kind of new and not really tested, 16 seems pretty good with the additional Double Turbo energy. Could also get rid of the Double Turbo energy entirely and put in another Lightning Energy just to hit those generators like maximum consistency, and that could work out too. So yeah, that is my sample post-rotation Miraidon EX deck list, and I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of this kind of deck? Let me know in the comments down below. Just want to know what you think of this way of playing Miraidon once rotation hits in April of 2024. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Like this video if you enjoyed it. I do want to do more of these and talk about other decks and how they could be surviving and how they could be playing and so on once rotation hits. So yeah, like this video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below what do you think of this list. Would you like, would you dislike, would you keep, would you change? And subscribe to the channel because I'm posting multiple Pokemon trading card game videos every single week. And now that all that is said and done, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, Hitmonchanning out.